All right, welcome back. Some of you might have noticed that the title of the stream changed. I recently changed it. I want to respond to another so-called expert. She happens to have a YouTube channel, and I just shared a link to this live stream on her YouTube channel. As a matter of fact, I'll share a link to her YouTube channel. Her name is Nanci Creedon. Nanci Creedon. Excuse me. Not Cretan. Nanci Creedon. Shout out to everybody. Moochie in the building. Dogs are not pets, and ban all pit bulls. Let's get into it. So recently this lady was on this media outlet. What is this? Britain's news channel, GBN? GBN News. And she shared some misinformation. As I informed her on her channel, I left a comment. Said you shared dangerous misinformation recently. I'm referring to this media outlet that she recently made a visit to. And I let her know I'll be correcting you live in a few seconds from now. Here's the link. Now this is embarrassing for all of you behaviorists, all of you trainers, all of you so-called experts. Don't y'all think it's embarrassing that the everyday non-expert officially can just, intellectually boss you around like this? Can assume 100% authority over you as far as the rhetoric that you spew? Why not change professions? As a professional, that's the worst thing that could possibly happen to you. For a person who is not a certified trainer to treat you as if you don't know any better. I'm just saying. But that's what I do. That's what we do. We're about to do it to you. You don't be out here sharing dangerous misinformation. That's just not a nice thing to do. Now, I want y'all to listen to this, if I can get it to play. Again, this is GBN News, so credit to them for the video.
Own the breed unless you have an exemption certificate.
Well, joining us now from Glasgow is dog behaviourist Nanci Creedon. Good to see you this morning, Nanci. And what do you make of these new rules?
There's really two angles to look at this, right? If we were being sensible and listening to the experts and putting legislation together based on science and animal behaviour, we would have an entirely different picture when we're looking at the legislation. However, when we're not doing anything with the legislation to protect people, a ban is better than nothing, insofar as the only decent data that we do have is that the overwhelming majority of dog fatal attacks are allegedly coming from XL bullies. So if we're not going to do anything sensible, then we need to at least find a way to minimise this from happening. It's just a shame that in 2024, when we have so many highly educated dog behaviour experts out there, that they're not being listened to, I guess, because it is a knee-jerk. And it's not necessarily the most effective way.
All right, Nanci. What do you mean by sensible other options?
Education would just be fundamentally change everything. If we had a mandatory training program that all dog owners had to go through before they had a license, we'd have a decent foundation understanding of dog behaviour. If we had legislation that perhaps looked at putting a ban on owning a dog over a certain weight, if you've been convicted of a dangerous crime, perhaps that would be an effective way to minimise dangerous people owning dogs that can potentially be used as a weapon, if we're looking at regulating breeding, and only responsible people can breed from behaviourally sound dogs, we'd already see just such a different picture when we're looking at the dogs out there. However, we have dangerous people breeding dangerous dogs and encouraging them to behave dangerously. That's fundamentally where we're looking at the massive problem when we're looking at dangerous dogs.
Whoa. She said that as they showed this attack. We all remember this attack. Ma'am, how did you find out that this particular lady, trained those dogs to attack people? How did you find that out? Because I never came across that information. I was all over this case. The day it broke, I reported on it. What are you talking about? Where'd you get that information? And not just this case, where'd you get that information for all the other cases? How'd you find that out? Can you share your detective work with the rest of us? Or are you just making stuff up? You're making stuff up. Now, for the record, now let's continue.
Dangerous people breeding dangerous dogs and encouraging them to behave dangerously. That's fundamentally where we're looking at the massive problem when we're looking at dangerous dogs.
When we're talking about XL bullies, do you believe in such a thing as a bad dog or a bad breed? Or do you think it does come down to bad owners, essentially?
It's a really, really, really good question. I was recently at a dog pound where they did have a lot of seized dogs. And I mean, to say my blood went cold is not an understatement. There are dangerous dogs out there. It can be genetic. We don't necessarily know that because we're not gathering the DNA and we're not gathering the bloods and so on. So we don't know. But the thing is, at the end of the day, we're constantly saying either there's no such thing as a bad dog, just bad dog owners, or else we're saying, oh, they're bad dogs. And both suggestions are flawed because there's many a wonderful dog owner whose dogs do have issues, and there is something different and something wrong with that individual dog. And then there are, of course, dangerous owners and irresponsible owners that do encourage dangerous behaviours. So
there she said it again. That the dogs that have attacked people were actually trained to do it, trained to be violent. In many of these cases, the people came out and said, we never even seen them act aggressively before. Where are you getting this magical information, ma'am? I'm sitting here as a person, one of the only few people I know. I'm the only person I know keep up with dog attacks closely. I follow individual cases. I ain't ran across this information. Where you getting it from? You're making it up. Lord.
Really, it's such a broad spectrum of why did that dog do that in that situation, that putting a ban on breeds isn't going to realistically tackle the issue. It's going to lead people to have a false sense of security that if your dog isn't one of these dangerous dogs, then, you know, it's A-okay. And then we're looking at these individuals.
What? Here we go with that again. Gonna fill other dog owners with a false sense of confidence and safety. If we ban XL bullies, then magically they're going to view pit bulls as harmless. Ladies, stop it. Stop it. Y'all's rhetoric is just painfully stupid. Oh.
Individually friendly dogs, some dogs that are many dogs, and XL.
Shut up. God, shut up. Now let's deal with this nonsense. Unpack this nonsense. This is why I took the title of dog expert away from all of you. All of you. There are no certified dog experts nowhere. The only experts is right here. Lord.
See you this morning, Nanci. And what do you...
Whoa.
Dog fatal attacks. are allegedly coming from XL bullies. So if we're not going to do anything sensible, then we need to at least find a way to minimize this from happening.
Okay. Skip all this. Sensible? So according to you, rather than get rid of them, you think it's safer for the community to send them through classes? What are they going to learn? What are they supposed to learn in these dog training classes? Okay, isn't that what she said?
Necessarily the most effective way.
All right, Nancy. What do you mean by sensible other options?
Education would just be fundamentally change everything. If we
Okay, really? What would you teach them? You would teach them the same information that's been available to them for the past 20 years at least. You ain't talking about nothing but the same old stupid rhetoric. Look for the dog signs. Oh, look for the raised tail. Look for the whale eyes. You ain't got no other rhetoric to share in no classroom. You talking to the people who already take classes. And we don't know what you talking about. What you gonna teach them? Huh? This is gonna keep other people safe and themselves. What you gonna teach somebody like you or some other 90-pound woman like this lady about handling a XL bully? Your training class is gonna give her magical powers where she can overpower one of these mutants? You sound insane. And this is why y'all are not dog experts. Y'all need to stop it.
had a mandatory training program that all dog owners had to go through before they had a license, we'd have a decent foundation understanding.
How? Nothing is going to enable you soccer mom type women, you cheerleader women, you scrawny dudes, or even you buff dudes. Y'all all getting snatched off your feet by these dogs. These dogs are bypassing restraints and barriers. They're getting loose while you're asleep in bed. Ain't no training course you can take to stop none of that. So what are you talking about? Talking about personal training as if all dog attacks take place when the owner is in possession of the dog and loses possession of the dog. That's not how all dog attack scenarios go down. Many of them go down when the owner is in the house, sleep, away from the dog, or at any moment when the dog is simply off leash. They can break the leash. They do break leashes. They will dart out of vehicles when they open the vehicles. There are several scenarios involved in dog attacks. In your imagination, it's always a problem with the owner not knowing how to handle it. Oh, because you're not trained. Oh, look at how irresponsibly you're holding the leash. What are you going to teach them? You goofy. This rhetoric is goofy. Okay, the rhetoric is goofy. I don't know how you function, your train of thought personally, when you're not dealing with goofy rhetoric like this. But why would you disgrace yourself, embarrass yourself by spewing this type of nonsense? See, I'm telling you, people, this nutter expert, not her, all of them, all these nutter experts, the dog trainers, the veterinarians, the dog behaviors, whatever they are a part of this new age to make people dumber. That's what this is all about. They figure they got you. You're eating drugs. You all drugged up even more now, more than ever. And they just want to put out a bunch of dumb rhetoric.
Dog behavior. If we had legislation that perhaps looked at putting a ban on owning a dog over a certain weight, if you've been convicted of a dangerous crime, perhaps
over a certain weight, if you've been convicted of a serious crime. In other words, people like her, they will be able to own an XL bully, whereas the buff ex-con can only own a poodle. And that's supposed to make society safer? Because people like you are in possession of these killers and not some serious thug? Really? Ain't nobody gonna feel safer when they see one of y'all walking out with these things on a leash. Many of them would rather see a buff jack prisoner. What you talking about? Unbelievable. Does y'all's brain work? Does it work?
If you've been convicted of a dangerous crime, perhaps that would be an effective way to minimize dangerous people owning dogs that can potentially be used.
Again, how did you find out that all of these dog attacks involve owners that taught them to be violent and attack people? That's ridiculous. That is an absurd assumption on your part. What's wrong with you? Oh, goodness. It's worse. It's a lot worse than I'm able to explain. I mean, the fact that we have snatched y'all's professionalism away from you, that's an understatement. Lord.
As a weapon, if we're looking at regulating breeding and only...
There you go with this breeding. Again, how did you find out that all of the dogs that have launched attacks were bred improperly? And what makes you... How did you find out that none of the dogs that have attacked came from a reputable breeder? I keep up with these cases. Many of these attacks involve dogs that came from a reputable licensed breeder. So what are you talking about? Y'all's rhetoric is not in line with the facts. That's why you're not experts. None of you are. I don't care how many media outlets reach out to you to get your input. I will roast all of them. I'll roast all of you. And I don't care how many or few views these videos got, they're still on YouTube roasting you. And anybody that listened to the video gonna hear it. And actually, we're not roasting you. You're roasting yourselves. All we're doing is bringing up the facts. None of this is me being creative. I'm just reminding you of the facts in, relation to the things you're saying. And it's crazy because it proves that y'all don't keep up with dog culture at all. Or you're just, knowingly lying.
Responsible people can breed from behaviorally sound dogs. We'd already see just such a different picture when we're looking at the dogs out there. However, we have dangerous people breeding dangerous dogs and encouraging them to behave dangerously.
What? And she says that, or they show this video as she says that. Which is this is one of the cases where nobody shared that kind of information. Nobody discovered that this lady raised these dogs, teaching them to attack people. What are you talking about? You are not allowed to make blind assumptions like that. Especially when we have endless confessions from dog owners who said they never raised their dog to be violent, but yet it launched an attack and killed somebody anyways. This happens all the time, man. Again, this proves that y'all don't even keep up with dog attacks. You don't even keep up with dog attacks. That alone means you're not an expert. You don't even keep up with dog attacks? Don't you think that would help y'all to better understand their behavior and why they attack? Why wouldn't you keep up with the attacks when allegedly those attacks prove your rhetoric to be true? You say dogs always provoke or are provoked when they attack someone 13 and under. So why don't you keep up with dog attacks so that you could prove it in each case, whether it's captured on film or testimony? You know why? Because the film and testimonies always refute y'all's rhetoric. That's why you're not experts. Just beat it. Beat it. Don't nobody want to be lied to. Lord.
That's fundamentally where we're looking at the massive problem when we're looking at dangerous dogs.
When we're talking about XL bullies...
Okay, that's enough. Ma'am, go away. Go away. We don't need you out here lying to the public, posing as an expert. What other group of professionals do this? Pose as an expert and spew outright bold-faced lies to the public. That's a disservice to the public. Beat it. Lord. Now this is the story that this stream was about to be based on. Let us continue, because as y'all know, my time is limited.
And we do begin tonight with the tragedy that a Northwoods family is dealing with right now after they saw a wolf kill their family pet. Good evening, I'm Melissa Langbatten.
And I'm Eric Motek. News 9's Nick Robinson traveled to Woodruff to find out what happened and how the family is working to help keep it from happening again.
Wolves have been a hot topic of discussion here in the Northwoods, but for one family, the debate took a personal and tragic turn when they lost one of their dogs to a wolf attack. What started as a normal morning at Denise Caron's home turned into chaos after a wolf emerged from the trees and attacked her Chihuahua while her and her dogs were outside. Caron fighting back tears as she walked me through those fateful moments.
The wolf came from the right side of my yard and picked up my dog and took him.
Picked up your dog and took him?
And I went screaming.
Keep in mind, people, at the time, as you just heard, her other dogs were out there as well. You following? Had 3 dogs out there. The wolves came and took how many? 1.
Home turned into chaos after a wolf emerged from the trees and attacked her Chihuahua while her and her dogs were outside.
You heard that.
Caron fighting back tears as she walked me through those fateful moments.
The wolf came from the right side of my yard and picked up my dog and took him. And I went screaming and yelling after him, but he wouldn't drop him.
The USDA confirmed the incident as a wolf depredation.
The wolf would not drop it. You know, like dogs drop sheep. Rather than take one sheep and leave, they kill, maul, drop, maul, drop, maul, drop. Yeah, it didn't drop it because it's not a filthy, worthless dog. Y'all not gonna touch these wolves. You better not touch these wolves. Listen closely. Y'all the experts. We are the experts. We are the ones giving the public the truth.
Caron's family has already begun to make changes around the house in response to what happened. Up until Tuesday morning's attack, this fence around the backyard wasn't here, but the family told me they've put it up recently just to have some peace of mind. Brad Cooley from the Wisconsin DNR says that while it may be frustrating for homeowners, that it is illegal to kill wolves unless it's a life-threatening situation due to them being protected under the Endangered Species Act.
There are no lethal control options, so livestock depredations, pet depredations, hunting dog depredations, those type of conflicts, we do not have lethal control authority or the ability to implement lethal control.
Cooley said you can keep your pet safe by building fences and making noise to try to scare it away. Caron said that she tried that, but the wolf continued to run. She said more needs to be done to keep pets and children safe.
I hope these wolves are hunted. I hope we can trap them or move them or do whatever we can so this doesn't happen to another family.
The U.S. House of Representatives passed.
No. Did you? She suggested that they be hunted. These wolves humanely hunted your dog. This was not blood sport. They took one dog and left and fed on it, unlike your dogs do virtually every single night to livestock. This was not a bloodthirsty creature. It functioned like a natural predator, something y'all not used to seeing from these worthless, trashless trash mutants. No, they're protected. They're an endangered species, and they're not bothering you. Now, let's go a step further. This took place in Wisconsin. Talking about hunting wolves. See how much they hate natural animals? Even if it's a canine, if it's natural, they hate it. This took place in Wisconsin. Do wolves in Wisconsin attack people? That's my search. It said just like any wild animal, wolves tend to avoid humans. Verified cases of healthy wolves attacking humans are extremely rare. And there have been no documented cases in Wisconsin. So there's no cases in Wisconsin of these things even attacking a person at all. And you want them to be hunted because they humanely hunted your dog? No. And y'all better not let that happen up there in Wisconsin. Wow. Get a load of these people. This is why the world just does not like it, and it's growing fast. They don't like dog culture. Dogs are just so worthless. They're so worthless, and the way y'all defend them is criminal. Projecting these wolves like the bloodthirsty beasts that you own. Senior citizen shot his neighbor's dog with an air rifle. This senior citizen, he frequents a gun range. And this is another recent story. By the way, the story about the wolf surfaced a few hours ago. Same with this. Surfaced a few hours ago. There's a date right there. Dog was killed due to this shot by an air rifle. But you see here in the subtitle, it says that it involved a dispute that had apparently been brewing for some time. So what does that sound like to y'all? You know, in this article, they never share the details. They never share the details. They're just talking about, oh, it was shot. Dog had severe injuries. That kind of stuff. Police further reported, oh, a shooting. Look, neighborhood households expressed their anger towards the senior citizen's actions. Loss of our, oh, we're so sad. But they don't get into the details of why they were having a dispute. Well, you left it up to us to draw our own conclusions. And I'm going to conclude that that senior citizen was being harassed by that worthless, good-for-nothing, trash mutant. He could not enjoy his older years peacefully. This is what dog culture does. They drive civilized people crazy. The most dangerous people in society and the most unwanted people in society. How can these brainwashed parents profess to be grieving? They were there to purchase a beast. This speaks volumes to me. Any person with kids and they have beasts it's my unsolicited opinion, they have absolutely no love for their child. Why would you put your child in harm's way? Huh? Unless, of course, you're hoping to secure a bag at some point. Just saying. That's the trend that's going around. That's the trend that's going around. The only thing people see in these days is a bag. Do you know that some gang members put money on other people's heads, and it's about the same amount of money that they get with these GoFundMes? They'll put 10 racks, 20, 50 racks on somebody's head, and the job will get done because people are willing to execute other grown people in broad daylight for 50 racks, 40 racks. Many of these GoFundMes after these attacks go much higher than that. If they're willing to kill someone for that much money, what makes you think they wouldn't organize a so-called accident? Oh, I stepped out of the room for just 2 seconds. When in reality, you locked the youngster in there with the dog and left him there for a while. Just saying, it's possible. And I highly suspect that has been going on for a long time. These are not accidents. Some of these cases are not accidents. The tearless parents only drive that suspicion home harder for me. Now again, about the 2-year-old who was recently mauled to death, tortured to death by 3 Rottweilers.
Just after noon on Monday, Houston police were called to this home on Milwaukee, where a 2-year-old girl had been mauled by 3 Rottweilers. Police say it happened inside the house and characterized the adults in the home as babysitters. Cedric Smith is a cousin.
I just want to give my condolences to the family, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what it's like to lose a child, but I understand that it's going to be a hard thing to get through for a 2-year-old.
Smith says his cousin, who lives at the home, was babysitting a relative's child. The family has long had dogs, and he characterizes the mauling as a tragic accident.
They normally had a dog.
Everybody is brainwashed. It's always an accident. See, it's not just the cops that just rule it an accident. Everybody in dog culture knows. Call it an accident. Call it an accident.
Locked up or whatnot, and the dogs just actually broke through the back door. That's what I'm thinking, because they don't have them in there like that.
One man.
Well, if they broke through the back door, obviously to attack the youngster, and it wasn't an accident. Well, no accident. Who accidentally did it? Saying the dogs accidentally did it? No. Is it that the owner accidentally exposed the youngster to the dog? You know, brought the youngster in close proximity to the dog? That's not what you're talking about. Or else you'd have been objecting to the youngster being in the house. That's not what's being considered an accident. Nobody, not the cops, not human services, not the parents, not the babysitter, nobody objected to the presence of the dogs, whether they was in the house or even in the backyard. So what are you talking about? How can it possibly be an accident? Not just this case, at any of these attacks. How could they be accidents? That is ridiculous. I mean, if this was the truth, then it would pass the test, you know, if we decide to challenge it. If we hold it up to scrutiny, it should pass the test. It's not passing.
Who works in the neighborhood says he saw the Rottweilers often, but was shocked to learn the dogs attacked.
The dogs did it on purpose, and the owners knew it was possible. Y'all all know these things got teeth and a brain of their own. That's all you need to know.
The child inside the home.
I see them all the time when I cut the grass. You know, they bark at me and stuff. But, yeah, that was it. I've never seen them do anything bad.
Oh, listen, nobody never seen these dogs. And this is testimony from people who confess to have seen them. This is the same type of investigation that detectives do. Do y'all know that? When they conduct these investigations, they go around asking any and everybody that had anything to do with that dog. I don't care if you just seen it periodically. They ask the mailman, they ask the vets, everybody, neighbors. Hey, have you ever seen this dog act aggressively? And you hearing it now. No, 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 no.
Dogs and the people, I've never had any problems with them.
Which means what? It means that just because a dog has a clean record, don't mean it's safe. It's because of mutt, worthless, good for nothing, parasitic mutant. Don't have an attack history, that don't mean squat. Y'all need to beat it with that. Beat it with that.
On CCX News, a close...
Oh, it's never act aggressively. Oh, if you're training it, just shut up. Now, y'all see the title of this? I was somewhat impressed with the title. You know, because it looks like they're trying to emphasize one of the things that I put emphasis on. The fact that they tried to stop the attack using hammers and pickaxes. And still, it had to be shot when the cop arrived. So, when they're attacking, not even hammers and pickaxes work. Meaning what? They're not pets. Simple as that. That's the only thing you should talk about as an expert, as a dog expert. If you're going to be a dog expert, you have to face the fact that these are not pets. Anything but pets.
Today on CCX News, a closer look at dog attacks, what police are now saying as a reminder to pet owners. We're learning more about the dog attack that killed the 3-year-old boy and injured his mother in Brooklyn Park earlier this month. As Delane Cleveland reports, police urge people to take the responsibilities of pet ownership seriously.
Yeah, our hearts go out to the family.
Nearly 2 weeks after 3-year-old Koval Allen was attacked by 2 dogs in Brooklyn Park, police are sharing new details about what happened.
They had come over to the residence to look at puppies, and there was a litter of puppies that had been born at that residence, and these folks had come over and were looking at puppies, and that's when the attack happened.
Ooh, you know what that sort of suggests? You know what that quietly suggests? It didn't go under my radar. That it was the victim's fault. That he was attacked because he came near the puppies. So the parent attacked. Well, those were the puppies y'all had for sale. How you gonna say he shouldn't have went near them when you out here having a sale? They having a yard sale, a month sale. Hey, we got puppies too. Puppies over here. Oh, don't get too close to them. What are you talking about? They don't care about the lack of logic in that. It's all about blaming the victim. In this case, a 3-year-old? Okay.
The attack happened on the 7500 block of Brooklyn Park Drive on July 19th. A search warrant says people in the area armed themselves with hammers and pickaxes to try to help the toddler before officers arrived and shot the animals.
Okay.
Police now describe the dogs as...
if the pickaxes and hammers worked, he wouldn't have had to shoot it. So obviously the dog was still launching an attack. Wow. And this woman talking about, oh, we just need better training. What kind of training is going to equip you to stop an attack from these things, huh? What you think you're going to learn or do? What stories out, and this is not the first storyline. You had to have heard of some people using bats, all types of objects, and being unable. People using stun guns. There are even cases where they've taken bullets and continue to launch an attack. But some magical training is going to enable you to be Superwoman, huh?
as XL American Bullies, a cross between an American Bulldog and a Pit Bull Terrier.
They're bred specifically for the size, and they call them XL. They come in different varieties. That's what the variety is. And so there's definitely, there is worldwide concern over that particular breed. People can research that and become educated on their own. But there is worldwide concern with some of the characteristics of that breed.
No. Don't do that either. Don't do that either. Don't pretend as if it's only an XL bully problem. Any bully breed could have done that. Any Doberman Pinscher could have done that. German Shepherd, Lab could have done that. Wow. Especially bully breed. Because they were using pickaxes and hammers. That's breed-specific attacks. You'll usually get a lab to stop you coming at it like that. They usually have more appeasement behavior anyway when put up to resistance, human resistance. Talking about labs, not bully breeds.
Regardless of the dog breed, police say there have been 31 reported animal bites in Brooklyn Park so far this year.
In one park?
Which is down from a high of 50 in 2021.
Yeah, that was the lockdown year.
Faust wants all pet owners to understand that...
Oh, they called them pets.
Being a pet is a huge responsibility.
A pet, they called it pet again. Y'all not slick. These are killers. Yeah, say that. These are killers. Cold-blooded killers. I can't even keep up. I've lost count of all the deaths.
That shouldn't be taken lightly.
Understand what kind of training and what kind of attention.
This drill rap for the suburbs. Huh? This drill rap for the suburbs. That's what it is. Just death after death after death after death. Mutilation. Can't even keep up with them.
And what kind of attention is going to be necessary, and make sure that you are fully comfortable with what that responsibility is going to look like.
Fully comfortable with that.
Going forward.
In Brooklyn Park.
Is that going to make you capable of controlling it? That you're comfortable? Oh yeah, I'm comfortable. That airhead I just showed was comfortable. All the airheads I've showed was comfortable. Totally comfortable. Y'all need help, man. Y'all need help. You're not going to get it from these so-called experts.
Have you ever heard a dog nutter say, "We don't deserve dogs"? There are really only a few ways to respond to this. One is as follows. You're right. We don't. We deserve much better than the presence of dogs, which for many of us is an unearned curse. No one deserves the harassment, intrusion, barking, threats, attacks, or general aggravations that come along with the presence of dogs. No one deserves for the soil, grass, air, and water to be contaminated with dog feces. No one deserves to get attacked at random just for being outside, and this is something we're forced to deal with because of dogs. It can also be pointed out that dogs don't deserve humans. They don't deserve access to our resources. We're the one species that literally maintains them and artificially propagates their existence. And how do they repay us? Your dog just might bite the hand that feeds it, or it may violently attack one of your children out of the blue. Houses get destroyed. Neighbors are annoyed. Apartments are unlivable because of dogs, and these overgrown, violent critters are forced upon everyone. Dogs have a lot to do with the complete shambles society is currently in. Standards fall by the wayside. Public places are infested. Picnics get ruined. Neighborhoods are terrorized. Parks and other green spaces are absolutely littered. Relationships are torn apart. Infants are torn apart. Children lose fathers. Mothers lose children. Siblings and friends fall out over disputes at which a goofy, undeserving mutt is at the center. Those who live next to barky dogs lose their sanity. We all lose our patience. There's no sanctity of the home. People lose limbs. People lose sleep. Dog people lose their minds. Dogs and their nutter-enabling owners gain unearned privileges. Alternately, this nonsense about how we don't deserve dogs is just stupid. Our species literally created them. You may as well say humans don't deserve the internet, or anything else invented by humanity, except that most things you could come up with would actually be good and useful, unlike dogs. Statements like this are a perfect example of the uncritical conformity of dog worshippers. They're constantly repeating the same few mindless mantras and trite slogans, and they obviously never think about how stupid what they're saying is, or perhaps they say such idiotic things to virtue signal. In any event, it's enough to make you want to vomit. Dogs deserve to starve. We should starve them of attention and resources. We should prevent them from multiplying. Dogs shouldn't even exist.
Be sure to subscribe to K None. Seeing that
in America, acts of police.
Seeing that my whole goal here is to stomp on the image of dogs, I felt like that was an excellent contribution to this stream. Shout out to all of you able to join me for this stream. And I hope you can join me on the next as we continue with this crusade.